Welcome back to All the Day. We took a break last week because I went on vacation, went to Orlando, but I am back now. Lost probably about 95 pounds in water weight from sweating, but I am alive and well.
And you got all that Florida stink on you.
Oh, lots of stink, let me tell you.
Did you catch COVID?
I'll let you know in 2 weeks, but
Okay.
results are promising.
Okay. Well,
It's starting now, yeah. It was a good time, and I'm glad to be back. So, how have you guys been this week?
Good. Busy, but good.
Glad to hear that. Setzer, what about you, Cheston?
Oh, it has been an interesting week over here.
Yeah, you've watched my dog. That's very interesting.
Yeah, that was interesting, and that led us down a very dark path. A big to-do with a neighbor,
Neighbors, hit or miss,
Yeah, well, they're all miss where I'm from. So.
Well, for what we've been playing, I guess I will start this week. I've played a bunch of things, all stuff I've played before, so I will go in rapid fire and tell you my thoughts on them. And if you want to stop me and have any comments, feel free. But I don't have anything insightful to say. So let's start with all the Sonics I played. I played a bunch of Sonic shit. So first was Sonic Mania. This game is great. For those that don't know, it's like the Sega Genesis Sonics, but made in like 2017. They totally know what they're doing. You could tell it wasn't made by Sonic Team. It was a great game.
Are you insinuating Sonic Team doesn't know what they're doing?
I am definitely insinuating that. They might be the biggest bunch of incompetent developers out there.
When do you think the last time they truly knew what they were doing was?
When Sonic 3 came out? Maybe.
Ooh, that was a long time ago.
Yeah. They're all, because, they had the Saturn go by without a Sonic game. Like, that's straight up incompetence. I don't care what you say.
That's a big miss right there.
So, even though I like other games we'll be mentioning, I still think a lot of those were good due to pure accidents as opposed to actually good on purpose, but whatever. Mm-hmm. So the next Sonic game I played was Sonic Adventure 1. This game is janky as hell, but I enjoy it. It's got a really stupid story, but it's fun. The Sonic stages feel like 2D Sonic, but in 3D, so I like that. Everything else is hit or miss. Sonic Adventure 2 was after that. That game gets a lot of hate, but I actually really love it. I enjoy every character that you can play as, Tails and Knuckles included. So, no complaints.
Well, you had me until you said that. I was going to give you a pass, but I can't defend the Knuckles or Rouge the Bat levels.
Knuckles levels they're fun, man. It's fun to explore and look for emeralds and all that stuff.
Yeah. You and I have very different ideas of fun.
Pumpkin Hill is great. You're right. That's like one of the best levels in the whole game.
That is such a bad level.
No, it's not.
It's so ridiculously
What's the worst
hard
level?
to navigate.
It's that one where you're playing as Shadow, and you have to explore that level with the anti-gravity devices all over the place. You have to flip gravity in different directions.
Oh god, that is a bad one.
You're wrong, but I appreciate the input.
There's a Rouge level like that I think is just disgusting.
That's the worst level. That one sucks. It's the worst level in the game. It's called Planet Scramble or something dumb like that. I hate that level, so that's one I don't like. The Knuckles level I don't like, I think, is Aquatic Mine, which just isn't fun.
Wait, can I ask a qualifying question?
Yes.
Were you playing Sonic Adventure 2 or Sonic Adventure 2 Battle?
Well, I got the Battle DLC from Xbox, so I suppose it was Battle.
What is the Battle DLC, just the multiplayer?
Yeah, it's the multiplayer. I was like, I'll throw a $2 tip at this game. I really enjoy it. Yeah. So
no, it wasn't just so in case any neighbor kids come by and say, hey, do you have Sonic Adventure 2 Battle?
You want to play with me? You can play as Shadow and Metal Sonic or Amy and all these great characters. No. And I also tried doing mission modes and chows and stuff. And mission mode is too complicated and hard. So I just was like, well, I tried, but it took me an hour and I got a B rank when I did this as fast as I possibly could, so it's just time to jump out. So that was
What
that.
is mission mode? I don't remember mission mode.
Well, that's how you unlock Green Hill Zone. You get A rank in every single mission.
Is that when you go to the stage select and there's 5 variants of the stage?
Yeah. Okay. And so I think what did it for me was it was Shadow, Radical Highway. I think the hard mode was I am going through this so fast. I do not know how to improve my time. I don't know how I can do better than this. So I just like I could either move on and do something else or tough it out. Like, nah, screw this. So I bailed. But I beat the story mode. That's what I was playing for. So
Yes, the very intricate story.
it's fun. The interesting about that game is that the sound mixing is so terrible.
It is
For whatever reason, the cutscenes are like they cut each other off. So like Sonic will be saying something, and then Shadow will cut him off, and vice versa. And the sound effects are way, way, way too loud. I had my volume on, I think 9 on my TV, which is pretty low. It goes up to 100, and my wife is like, "I hate to be that guy, but can you turn the TV down?" And it was like during an Eggman stage because the blazers are just so loud. So I don't know what the deal is, but it's
She didn't want to hear Eggman's great little sound bites.
yo, no,
Yo.
yeah. So that game is like I understand why people don't like it, but I think it's a lot of fun. It's like broken in a fun way. So
It's fine. It's fine.
yeah, it gets too
It
much.
gets a little too much hate. It does. It does. It's fun to pile on. But there's worse Sonic games
Yes,
that
which
you're
I'm
gonna
about to talk
in a
about.
second.
Yeah, Sonic Heroes was next up. This game you beat the same game 4 times basically, with 4 different sets of teams. They're divided as such. You have the easy team, which is Team Rose, the medium team, which is Team Sonic, the hard team, which is Team Shadow, and the zany team, which is Team Chaotix. It's the same levels, the same themes, it's just different difficulties. It's such a tedious waste of time. It would be so much better if it was just one set of levels, but they had to like, whoa, man, they'll bitch if this game's only like 3 hours long. So I grew tired of it. I was like, I jumped out. So after that, well, I beat it, I should say. So I didn't jump out. I finished the whole damn thing.
He jumped out of his house.
Yeah, I should have.
Fuck this game!
Then after that was Sonic Unleashed, which sucks. If anyone tells you that it's good, they're wrong and they're lying to you.
The internet has been telling me for years that it's actually pretty good.
No, it blows. The
Yeah.
Sonic levels control like shit. He like steers like he's drunk, so that's no good. It plays at 30 frames per second, which sucks for Sonic. It should always be 60. I understand Dreamcast Adventure was 30, but I don't care. Let's see what else. The Werehog stages last like 30 minutes each. They are unfun. They are tedious. They're like if they made a really bad God of War game, and to unlock further levels, you have to like find coins. So you have to go back through these long ass levels and find trinkets and explore. I'm like, fuck this. I'm not doing that. So I got maybe halfway through the game, and I was like, no, I'm done. And it actually killed my interest in playing Sonics because I was gonna keep going, but I had no interest to do any more after that. So, as for other things I've touched, I played Mario Bros. 3 on the plane. That game's fun. I don't know what needs to be said about Mario 3. And Donkey Kong Country 2, which is hellistically hard. That game is, especially at the end of it, it is tough. They don't make them like that anymore. For better and worse, I suppose. And the final thing that I played was Simpsons Hit and Run, which is fun. It's Grand Theft Auto, but with Simpsons. It's a little, rough around the edges, but it's kind of fun going through all the references and stuff because it's from when The Simpsons was good. So it doesn't go in the references that I don't get. So I dig that. It's, obviously not as polished as the Grand Theft Auto, but for a licensed game, it's hard to do much better. And so that is it. I just played a bunch of short stuff because I was like, I'm going on vacation. Just don't want to leave anything hanging. So now that I'm back, I started Scarlet Nexus this morning, so I'll have fun things to say about that next week.
Can I chime in real quick and share my favorite Sonic Unleashed memory?
Yeah, go for it.
So, is a real throwback. You remember back in the day when you would submit a Christmas list as like an on-paper thing, and that was that? And our family was always very early on the Christmas trigger, so it was always like by October you better have your ducks in a row. So you gotta like, once I had some computer savvy, like I would like print out like a picture guide, with my 5 or 6 things I wanted. Right? You remember doing this?
I do remember this.
Yeah. So I remember that year, Sonic Unleashed was the first Sonic game that was like supposed to be really good after '06. I think it's also the first post '06 game, to be fair. But
It
you know,
was.
the hype around it was such. It was like, the first trailer really got people talking. The second one, not as much. But we didn't know at the time what it was going to be like. So I remember submitting my Christmas list in October, and then seeing the reviews come out, a few weeks later, and being like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And then, I think I tried to like encourage, like say little things to try and dissuade them from getting it. And then, Christmas time came and Sonic Unleashed was under the tree, and it was, uh, I have fond memories of playing it, but it's mostly just fond memories from my life at the time. Sonic Unleashed is very incidental to those memories. I think I got tired of the 20th Werehog stage that goes on for 20 minutes.
Well, luckily in the Wii version, they split them up. So they're actually like 4-minute chunks, which is how it should be.
Yeah.
And also, you don't have to collect shit to unlock levels, and it's not like it doesn't have a pointless hub world to walk around in. So
Yeah.
if I were to try again, which I will not for at least 2 or 3 years, it would be on the Wii or PS2 since they're the same version.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think the reviews at the time said the Wii version was better. I know, weirdly enough, popular sentiment is the opposite now, but I don't
Well,
know.
look, here's a little known fact about Sonic fans. They're idiots. Don't listen to any of them
I
on
don't think that's a
anything.
little known fact.
Yeah, I know. Like, I'm including myself. I would not play this
Okay,
crap
that's
unless
fair.
I was stupid. So I'm playing
Yeah.
it. So it tells you what you need to know. I don't really want to talk about it yet because I want to play some more. But I also got WarioWare, which was like I got it so for a late night game sort of thing. It's
All right.
WarioWare. I don't know what you want from me.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, but
Yeah. The reviews are kind of down on it.
uh,
So I was
I
curious.
mean, there's some things that could be better, but I like it. I
Yeah.
like that it's kind of no frills, no gimmicks, really. So,
Yeah. Well, that's
but,
what a lot of the reviews don't like, which I find is odd. But
well, they don't know what they're talking about. Don't you?
yeah, I agree.
Uh,
I'm with you. They're stupid.
but anyway, I know that Cheston had an exciting week with the PS5, so I guess we should save him for last. So, Setzer, what have you been up to?
Not much. I haven't had a lot of time for video games. I played a little more Guild Wars 2, and that's about it.
All right. So, anything else to add on Guild Wars 2?
Nope.
All right. Well,
Are you gonna pick up? Are you gonna pick up Deathloop sooner than later? I know you're like anti early releases, but you know.
I thought about it. Lately my credo has been no new game purchases until I finish some of my backlog games, including Bioshock
Yeah.
2. The only exception I permitted myself is Deathloop. That being said, much like Arcane's Dishonored 2 release, this game apparently has some PC performance problems. So
Oh.
I'm not going to be.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not picking it up until I have confirmation that those are fixed. So, what can you do?
Okay.
it's scoring
Yeah.
very well, so I'm
Oh yeah.
curious about it.
Yeah,
I'm
hearing
interested
nothing but
now.
good things about this game. Only
I mean, I don't
idiots
understand what the
dislike
game
it,
is.
apparently. Which
Only idiots dislike it?
apparently, which is always a good sign.
Oh, define what you mean by that.
I haven't seen anyone whose complaints about the game did not indicate to me that they simply don't like the genre. Like a lot of people complaining, one, as we've mocked many a time before, I just don't understand what this game is. I just don't understand. How do I play it? Or people just complaining that it's not like a more of like a Call of Duty sort of shooter, even though it's first person.
Oh God.
I've seen a lot of
Oh.
that.
I am far more likely to play this than a Call of Duty. Tell you that.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
this sounds
yeah.
great. It sounds like Hitman, but with a nice different style to it. Also first person.
Yeah, yeah. And as you know, I really personally I prefer first person to third person. So
Yeah.
that's always a plus to me. I love Dishonored. I love Prey. Yeah, I mean, I love immersive sims and arcane games in general. I think they're one of the few studios that are willing to just really be creative and true to the kind of world that they set their games in.
It's too bad that this is going to be their last good game.
Yeah, yeah. After this, as we know, they're going to be in the battle royale mines for the rest of eternity.
You said something about them being creative, and it's funny that you mentioned that because like their next game is a Left 4 Dead that's coming like as part of a horde of Left 4 Dead games.
Yeah, well, let me clarify that. Mechanically, the game Redfall, I think it's called. Is that the one I'm thinking of?
I
Yes.
don't know. They all kind of blend. I thought it was Back for Blood, but that's someone else, I think. So.
No.
No,
That's
Back for
the
Blood
Left 4
is
Dead
Turtle
people.
Rock.
Okay.
When I say Arcane is creative, their previous games have certainly been mechanically creative.
Right.
But what I mean is they have very creative worlds and very
Oh,
creative
yes.
settings, and they're also willing to stay true to that world. You know
I
what
agree
mean?
with that.
In
Yeah.
a way that a lot of video games aren't.
Unfortunately, this first trailer for this game looked like MCU Quip Fest, but I guess we will
Well,
see.
yeah, but that's the dialogue. What I mean is kind of this idea of like an American vampire apocalypse with magic, advanced technology, kind of Shadowrun, kind of Vampire the Masquerade. It's been done before. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying, but it is kind of an interesting spin on it.
Okay.
As far as the setting goes, mechanically not interested. Genre wise, not interested. I personally think Vampire the Masquerade is a huge joke. The entire World of Darkness franchise is a huge joke. So I am definitely not interested in its, sort of progeny of the mind here. But that being said, Arcane has definitely put a little twist on it.
Did you know that Vampire the Masquerade is getting a battle royale?
I did see that, yes, and it looks totally
Is it really?
pathetic.
It is. Isn't that weird? That feels like a weird franchise to get it.
That
Yeah,
game's never
yeah.
coming out, so I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, Vampire the Masquerade is a tabletop RPG franchise before they
Yeah, I
made
know.
the
Yeah.
video game. So this is just, a branch of the franchise, not a sequel to the video game. But their battle royale. I don't know if you've seen like gameplay footage.
No.
It looks sad. It's like one of those ASPCA commercials where they're begging you to donate money to animal shelters.
Oh, yeah.
And they show all the abused dogs. That's
Got,
what
like,
the
Sarah
footage of this
McLachlan
game
playing
looks like to
over
me.
it?
Yes, yeah. And the arms of an angel should be playing anytime this video game is also playing.
Oh man, it's rough. I'm ready for this fad to die. It's got to be soon. That's
No,
because
it ain't. We'll be talking about that later.
I mean, like I feel like there's not much room for new contenders. Like.
I agree, but
Has that
people,
ever stopped
yeah.
anyone?
Well, I know, but
They're gonna keep trying for a little bit. We'll see.
Yeah.
I was hoping they get the message. Like, there's the big guns are set. It's time to move on. But
It'll
you're
probably
right.
be like how Match 3, had its big wave, but it still exists. People are still making those, trying to make a quick buck, and
MOBAs,
they'll probably be
games,
making these
MMOs.
in perpetuity, trying to get like
Mhm.
squeeze whatever blood is left in that stone, because it ain't much.
All right, Cheston. Well, you borrowed my PS5 this week, so let's hear some tales.
I did. I borrowed your dog and your PlayStation,
Yes.
and I'll let you at home decide which one I had more fun with. The dog's fine. The dog's a great dog. It's really fine. I don't
But it's
mean that
no
as a slight towards your
PlayStation.
dog. Yeah, it's no PlayStation. I mean, seriously, come on. So I'll start. I think the way I want to do this is kind of just walk through the whole process. I'm going to give my perspective, every single aspect of this experience.
All right.
So Derek brought me a PlayStation 5 in a Costco bag. One of those reusable Costco bags. It took up the entire Costco bag. And when I took it out and put it next to the 50-inch television in my basement, it was at least half as tall, if not more than that, as the TV, which made quite the impression. So then hooked it up, stole my HDMI cable off my Switch, plugged it in, turned on that bad boy, put in a disc the wrong way because I couldn't tell which way was up. Since I was playing it vertical, didn't know. So the thing said can't read disc,
Broke
which
my
was
disc.
a fun little.
Okay.
Nope, did not. Thankfully, does not spin crazily when you put it in the wrong way. It just kind of says, "Hey, I don't know what you're putting in there, buddy, but you can stop." So, anyways, turn it on, and the interface I think is horrible. I think it is one of the most cluttered interfaces on a console in a long time.
I think it looks okay. It reminds me of the XMB,
Uh,
which I've never hated. I
I
think
did not
people.
like the XMB. I thought the PS4 interface was fine for what it was. It's very minimal but easy to navigate.
It's very funny that people have come around on the PS3 XMB because back in the day they did not like it. But
I hate it.
me and you were all, well, I was always on top of it. I didn't know you hated it, but
No, I
The
do not like
PS3
it.
UI won awards for how good it was.
really, because I swear I remember
Yeah.
people bitching about it. But
There's
maybe
just too much. Like in some of those sub menus, like the settings menu, it's subdivided so much that it's kind
Hmm.
of like when you're looking for where to change your subtitle settings in a game, and it's like, is it audio or is it visual? I don't know. I don't know. Or is it general?
it should
Like
be
it
an
could be in so
audio.
many places.
Like
Well,
we
yeah,
as an
absolutely, it
industry
should
need to
be.
agree that it's audio.
Are you kidding? Yes, of course. Like when it's going visual, like the argument for visual, I guess, is like, well, it shows up on your screen, so it's visual. Yeah, but I'm not doing it because I want to see something on my screen or I don't. It's because I want to hear or I can't hear because I'm in a certain environment where I just like subtitles in my game. Yeah, it should be an audio. That's besides the point. So other first impression was I really liked the way the controller felt. It's very weighty. Uh, Feels very firm. Kind of reminds me of when you went from like a six axis, which was like
It's
as light as
light,
a feather,
feels
and then you got the
fragile.
dual shock. Yeah, you got the dual shock, and it felt like 1,000 times better.
Yeah, it
You know,
feels good in the hands.
felt like you could do some real damage with it. And this controller kind of the same, very weighty. I just generally like the feeling better than the PS4 controller, which I know people love the PS4 controller. I
I
don't.
don't.
I like this one much better.
I love the
So
PS4 controller.
Yeah,
yeah, I
Yeah,
know
that's my
people swear by
preferred
it, but
controller.
I've got
um,
bad experiences of PS4 controllers.
yeah, mine were always flimsy was my main problem. They always broke very easily, or the thumbsticks would wear out really quick, like the rubber on them.
My wife has that problem, but so we have two PS4 controllers, right? One I use and one my wife uses. Because she tears the thumbsticks up. Mine are pristine, and my controller is like 2 years older than hers, so I don't know what the deal
Maybe
is.
you don't emit the same corrosive acid that the rest of us do.
Maybe.
Apparently not.
Yeah,
Yeah, because like I've had controllers that don't even last a full year for PS4, so they just don't do it for me.
yeah, I'm with you. So then I'll start with the games. So the first thing I played was Astro's Playroom. Is that what it's called? I think it
Yes.
is. I
hmm
just call it Astro
I
because
call it Astro's
there was another one.
Playland, Astro World,
Yeah,
whatever.
this game I thought was amazing, really. Kind of a mixed bag. It's only 2 hours long, if that.
It
It's
is a
like
free. It's
four. Yeah, it's free. It comes installed on the system. It's four pretty meaty platforming levels and a boss fight, and it is meant to be a tech demo for the DualSense controller. And so I played it partly because I had heard it was very good, and partly because I know Derek is not a huge fan of the DualSense stuff, and so I kind of wanted to see for myself. And I will say that the things that people really like about the DualSense controller, the adaptive triggers, and some of the rumble, I think is sublime. Like I actually really do like it. I was pretty impressed with the way Astro implemented that. Like the triggers specifically, there's this one stage where you get this suit that's like a spring, and it makes you into like a spring person. And so when you're pulling on the trigger to jump around as the spring, it feels like you're actually like compressing something, like you're compressing a string, and so it gives a nice little bit of feedback to you. It's not necessary. It'd be fine without it, but it just adds that little nice touch that makes it feel all the better. So I thought that was pretty cool, and like the rumble stuff is just when it works, it's just incredible. Like the best example for me is there's a level where you're skating on ice, and so the rumble in the controller does this. It does a lot of trickery to make you feel like it's the feeling of the sound when like rollerblades or roller skates rather, or ice skates or whatever are cutting across ice, and you can kind of feel it and you can hear it, and it creates a really nice vibe, I think. So I mean, I like those features. The parts of the game that I wasn't as big on were the parts that focused on the touchpad on the controller, which I just think the PS4 and PS5 touchpad is silly and shouldn't exist.
Agreed.
It should just be a big map button, and that's what it's best at. And then there's some that focus on the gyro stuff, which is kind of hit and miss. There's one where you're like a monkey and you like swing the controller kind of to flip around.
I think that's
And
what
it
made
just,
me like quit Astros, that monkey thing.
yeah, that part doesn't feel good. Like the monkey mechanics actually are kind of cool because it's like Donkey Kong Jungle Climber. You're climbing on this rock wall, and that stuff feels good. But then every once in a while, you have to get on these ropes and you spin around, and you have to fling your controller a little bit. And I'm like, I don't like compared to everything else in the game. This just feels so shoddy, and it makes sense because it's the worst part of the controller is the gyro. And then the other stuff about Astro, like besides the controller stuff, I mean, it's just a really solid platformer. It plays super well. You know, gets out while getting's good. Doesn't go too long. Has some great little nostalgic bits that I didn't think would work on me, but some of them I thought were pretty cool.
What's your
Like
favorite?
seeing the old. Probably when you stumble into a room full of CRTs and they're all playing the PlayStation 1 opening.
I like Cloud's sword, the Buster sword,
Oh,
like the FF7
yeah.
start screen. That was
Yeah,
cool.
and there was like Solid Snake in a box. That was pretty cool. And I also really thought it was funny at the end when you beat the game and you're collecting these artifacts is what you do in the game. And so the last area is just all the artifacts are PS5 things. And it's like a weird advertisement, which is kind of funny because if you're playing the game, you've probably already bought a PS5. So I guess it wouldn't be really effective on you, but it's like, oh, look, the DualSense, gaming has never felt like this before. And it's kind of funny because like the tone on a lot of the older artifacts is self-deprecating. Like they make fun of the iToy, but all the PS5 stuff is, this is the greatest thing ever, best technology ever in a game device, 10 out of 10, like stuff like that. So that made me laugh. But Astro I thought was great, really great. I don't think you finished it, Derek, because I got you some trophies.
Yeah, I did not finish it.
I think you should finish it. It's only 2 hours.
I checked out. I was like, fuck this. I want to play one of the games. I want to play Demon Souls or Spider-Man, whichever one I got.
You should go back. It's good. It's worth playing.
All right.
So then after that, I played Ratchet and Clank, A Rift Apart, and I played probably 2 hours, and it was very fun, very smooth. I mean, it plays excellently, like everything Insomniac makes, pretty much. But my overriding feeling was if I owned a PS5, I'd absolutely see that game through. But given that I was only borrowing it for like a week, the game had a big feeling of been there, done that. So I didn't really see the need to see it through. I wanted to see something else.
And probably the reason I didn't feel that is because I haven't played a Ratchet since, I think, Up Your Arsenal.
Yeah, I finished like 4 or 5 Ratchet games, so I kind of know what to expect. And I'm really surprised that this game is ever mentioned in Game of the Year stuff. It kind of reminds me of when Shadow of Mordor was like the consensus Game of the Year because nothing else came out that year.
Well, let me tell you, I've played a lot of 2021 releases, as you are well aware. And if this were to win Game of the Year, I'd have some problems. Like, I like the game, but there's a lot better out there.
Yeah, I just don't think it hangs with like Psychonauts, for example.
No,
I think
absolutely does not.
Yeah, much better and more interesting. And I heard a lot of people say otherwise, but I think this game is getting a lot of mileage out of being one of the first true next-gen games.
It's getting a lot of mileage out of being like the only PS5 game released this year. Like, that's exclusive to the PS5.
That and Returnal, which has also gotten, whatever. But nobody cares about that.
I haven't played it, so I can't say for sure.
No, only weirdos. I mean, it looks good. I'm kidding. It looks good.
Don't get onto us, ponies. We
Yes, please leave us alone. Anyways, the last one I played was Spider-Man Miles Morales, which I loved the Spider-Man game that Insomniac made on the PS4. So I knew I would like this one. I didn't play it immediately because I thought Ratchet seemed like it would be the more interesting new game. But I kind of thought that Miles Morales did a lot of things to differentiate itself from the original. You have the main character, of course, is Miles Morales instead of Pete, and well, it is interesting because they do like his animations do a good job of communicating that he's a total chump compared to Peter Parker at this point because he's just got his powers. So when he's swinging around, like he looks like he has no clue what he's doing, and a lot of his like combat animations communicate that he's just getting by. And so it does a really good job on that front. But I think the thing I like the most is that they gave him these like weird bioelectric powers that they call Venom powers, which I imagine will come into play in the sequel when Venom's in it. Like I really like those powers. I think they did a good job mixing it up, like mixing up the combat, and it feels really good because you can just chain together so many of those Venom powers and your web abilities. Like whenever you get into a fight, it just feels like you're just constantly going, but you're not just like jamming on the same button. You're really just flipping all around the place, shooting webs here, there, all around. It's like it's super satisfying. The story was good. This game made me feel like an old man though, because the last day I had with the PlayStation was a Friday. I was off work, or I had just finished work, and I was like, I'm going to stay up all night and finish this because it's a short game. And I couldn't even make it past 11 o'clock at night.
Old
And
man.
yep, so didn't finish the game. I'm looking forward to finishing it at some point, but my overriding feeling right now is that I love it and I'm old.
Well, I liked it a lot. There was a lot of hubbub when it came out about how it wasn't a real game because it was only like 10 hours. And I think that's bullshit. It's just a lot of fun. I don't know what you want. I don't think every game needs to be 60 hours. And it was weird that they would use that argument for this game because, like, I platinumed the first Spider-Man in under 30. So the first one didn't even hit that length. So I don't know. I don't know why people are obsessed with filler in
I
games.
I do think it's a little short for its price tag if you bought the ultimate version, which is $70.
Well, I bought the Ultimate version for the first, so I could get the first one on
Right.
PS5.
If it's as long as I think it is, which I don't know, it just seems like, but I really don't care that much. Like, I mean, if I owned the game, I'd be sticking around to do a lot of other stuff in it. So I probably wouldn't have cared that much.
I believe the standalone one was $49.99, which is discounted.
A little bit. Yeah. But I mean, it's really solid. It is funny though, because it's so short, things happen so early in the game that if you're playing like another game, it would take about 20 hours to get to those points in a story. And so this game is just delivering its twists like 3 hours in.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a little
funny.
jarring going from other games. It's like, wow, you like I've already got the story laid out in front of me and I know where it's going and I know that it's not like another 30 hours ahead. I've just got a little bit to go. So I guess overall, I definitely enjoyed my time with the PlayStation. Though when I thought about it, I was like, as much as I enjoyed this, when I look ahead at like the next 2 years, I can't see any reason why I would have a PlayStation until the next Spider-Man game, probably.
As an insane person who owns a PlayStation, because I just like owning consoles, I agree. There's really no reason to.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, I don't care about God of War. I would probably play it if I had a PlayStation, but as someone who doesn't have one, I have no interest.
it's good for backwards
And
compatible
I mean,
stuff. Like stuff gets
yeah,
boosted. So
yeah, that's I guess like something like Ghost of Tsushima, but I don't really want to play an 80-hour Ubisoft game in
yeah,
Japan.
it's not 80 hour, but you
I
do
know,
you.
I know,
it's
I
like
Here
know.
we go.
it's like 30,
Yeah,
but
I don't care about Horizon, don't care about Gran Turismo, like all the things that get
what? You
Sony
don't care about
people.
cars?
No, all the things that get Sony people all hot and bothered, like it just does nothing for me. And it's
Where's
not
Ape
like
Escape?
Xbox is really cranking out things I care about either. But at least I get a lot of free games, well, not free, but you know, I get a lot of games
Well,
for
for
low
me,
prices.
multi-plat's where it's at, and that's just you can only own one system if that's all you're gonna play. So
Yeah, so that's that. And I played a lot of Picross, and 3 weeks till Switch OLED. Get hype.
oh well, I look forward to your review on the Switch OLED. But
Yeah.
real quick, since it's not on the news docket, I want to discuss Insomniac making a Wolverine game real quick. I am concerned about Sony AAA's becoming like an MCU factory. Like, they announced Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine at the same time. I am concerned that if Wolverine is a smash hit, they're going to like go all in and like, next year or we'll see like a Doctor Strange like game or something and then like get Captain America then another Avengers game. This is concerning to me. I really don't want AAAs to either be prestige or like cape shit. I want more diversity, so this is concerning to me. How do you feel, Cheston?
I'm not too worried about it in the like in the overall like industry sense. Like
No,
I think
I'm
there's
talking
enough
specifically
evidence.
Sony.
Oh, specifically Sony?
Yeah, because this is their
Oh,
second.
well, the reason I'm bummed out is not really that as much as it is that I like I miss self-contained hero stories. Like I know the Avengers Tower is in Spider-Man and it was in the PS4 game, but you really didn't have any like crossover or anything. It was just a Spider-Man story. And I missed that. I felt like those movies were more focused and more interesting and, just better all around. And I think that when you do like every movie being a crossover more or less, like you can't watch a Marvel movie now that doesn't have at least two or three of the heroes from the other movies in it. And to me, that just waters down the movies and makes them feel very interchangeable. So I'm just kind of a little sad that Insomniac is going to make another one. So presumably you're going to have a lot of crossover. I would prefer that they just do Spider-Man and that's it. But
Well, yeah, I'm
whatever.
same. I don't want again. I don't want like an MCU in video games.
Yeah, I don't think expanded universe stuff is ever good for anyone except for huge fanboys and the corporations that support those
That
endeavors.
enslave them. Yes.
Yeah, like that's what it is. Like they love it because you can generate all this revenue on people. Like, well, I have to see this one. I mean, I can't miss this part of the picture. And then you have the fanboys who like only care about Marvel, I guess, or Star Wars or whatever. But like for me, as someone who doesn't have time to watch 30 Marvel movies to keep up with the latest Spider-Man movie, it kind of sucks when the new Spider-Man movie comes out and I feel like I can't see it because, you know, I haven't watched Ant-Man or something. Like that kind of sucks.
Or Black Widow.
Yeah, right.
um,
Exactly. It's stupid. It's stupid. I liked the Toby Spider-Man and those were very self-contained. So whatever. I know that I'm an old man yelling at a cloud about this. There's nothing I can do.
now that I've got my superhero bitching out of the way, like a 90-year-old gentleman, I can move on to the news, I suppose.
9 to 5 Max Chance Miller writes of the thrilling conclusion to the year-long app spat. Everyone was wrong.
Woohoo!
Apple must pay Epic damages and cannot prevent developers from directing customers to non-Apple payment sources in the future. On the other hand, however, Apple may uphold its decision to bar Epic from its App Store. Is this the end of the past year's most recurring video game story?
I hope so, but I mean, I'm glad the court made Apple say you can link to outside processors. That's a very good thing. I don't necessarily agree with them that with the court that this is not a monopoly situation, but you do you, I suppose. But I think this will ultimately be a good thing. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I also think that, pretending this is not a monopoly is a bit farcical. And I anticipate that within the next 10 years, this will probably go back to court, at least on that point. And we will see if, Epic tries to force their way back into the App Store. But who can say at this juncture, I'm glad that Apple has to allow outside payment now, but yeah, we'll see if that's enough.
I think Fortnite and Epic stuff will ultimately be back on there. There's just too much money to be made for Apple to turn their nose up at it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just don't know how Epic has all this money to burn through because they got smacked on this whole thing. Like Fortnite is just apparently an endless churn of money between this and all those exclusives that I know they're paying out the butt for, but aren't always seeing a huge return on.
Had you guys even heard of this Free Guy movie before? I don't know, a week ago?
Which movie?
Free Guy, because it had a Fortnite crossover. That's how I saw
Yes,
the
I
link.
heard of Free Guy.
I had never heard of it before it got that, and then all of
Yeah,
a sudden
I
it was
have no
everywhere.
idea.
See, well, okay, so I got one. What about the Martin Luther King game? Did you guys hear of that one?
Yeah.
What a crossover that was!
Yeah, you
Yeah.
have the Xenomorph and Rick and Morty palling around at the MLK speech, huh?
Taking a kneel while they listen to "I Have a Dream." That's
Doing
Come on,
funny
boys. They're doing it for
emotes.
the kids, man. They're doing it for the kids.
Yeah, that'll educate the kids.
yeah. This is a very short-sighted thing.
Yeah, as someone who works with children, let me tell you what, you present something like that in Fortnite, everybody's gonna laugh at you and not take it seriously.
But yes, I do think they have infinite money to get down to it.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I wish they didn't.
Yeah, I saw some commentary on the whole MLK and Fortnite situation, and the author wrote that when he was loading into the Martin Luther King Jr. level, the loading screen had a tip encouraging him to get headshots.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, yeah,
To do what?
to get headshots to kill his opponents faster.
Oh,
And
oh.
it's like, got this wacky fun time loading screen with a little tip that says, get headshots, and then you load into, an extremely somber moment in our country's history.
Talk about tonal whiplash.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, how can you possibly reconcile that?
How can you take
Oh,
it seriously? It's
no.
just, I don't know. So, whatever executive thought of that, I know you're not going to get fired. I hope you get golden parachuted somewhere away from anywhere I would see, though.
Jump out of the party bus.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's just stupid execs doing stupid exec stuff.
Well, speaking of execs making tons of money, Scott Dewey of Dot Esports reports that a study conducted by NetBet found that Call of Duty Warzone rakes in $5.2 million per day,
Good.
a
God.
196% year-over increase, larger than any other game featured in the study. No wonder Activision is so intent to feed souls to the COD mines.
Yeah, that day without Activision sure paid off, didn't it, fellas? Golly, 5.2 million a day. That's insane. Like, why would they ever pivot away from that? I mean, Activision is known for running things into the ground, so it is just proof that they're just going to get their money when they can.
Yep. Strike while the iron's hot.
I have never been happier to be an old man, so I'm not interested in these kind of things. Like, the idea of paying money in a free-to-play game is so crazy to me. So,
Yeah.
I wonder what the microtransactions are like in Warzone. Like, is it like gun
Cosmetics.
skins?
yeah, it's
Well, I
cosmetics.
know, but there's. It's not like Fortnite. You can't have like a Xenomorph skin.
Well,
in
no,
Call of
but
No,
Duty.
they go pretty fantastical with the skins in this game. I'm
Oh, do they?
led to believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, huh.
But like to me, like I've played a little bit of Fortnite. To me, like killing people as a default skin is so much more satisfying because you can feel the rage coming from the other side of the screen. Because the only people that use like defaults are like newbies and like idiots like me. So I don't know. Like I feel like it's more satisfying to do that, but I just don't relate to these kids. I guess.
Yeah. Only smart people would pay for a skin in a free-to-play game.
Oh look, I don't know what you want from me. Are loot boxes in there? Is that part of it? Like, are there like
That wouldn't
pools?
surprise me. I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah.
I assume. Like, I think Call of Duty World War II had loot boxes, so probably.
Yeah, I would assume. I just didn't know if there was like a gotcha element to it.
I always thought it was delightfully tasteless that there were loot boxes in a World War II game, but whatever.
It may not shock anyone listening to this, but we do not have a lot of love for the Call of Duty franchise.
No, to
Shocker.
me, I'm glad that it's become to the kind of thing where it's like it's developed such its own little niche that I feel like I don't have to encounter it very often. Like it used to be like every game publication had to shove Call of Duty in your face because that was like a core gamer's game, quote unquote. But now it's like no, everybody just plays this. Everybody plays this, but the people who play and cover games a lot of times don't. So you don't have to hear about it as much,
Yeah, just
which
get
I
to hear about
appreciate.
FIFA. Woohoo!
Well, no, that's also its own niche. Like that and sports games have both like so diversified, or not diversified, not the opposite of diversified. They've
Consolidated.
they've honed in on their one audience.
Now that you say it, sports games need more coverage because they have the most bullshit in them. So
Yeah,
They get more outrage these days.
yeah, that's true. Well, with NBA 2K basically being a slot machine, so
all the successful games are played by everyone else but you, and
Yeah.
they're all skeezy and exploitative, and they make you happy to stay inside and play your single player games.
Well, speaking of skeezy and exploitative and happy to play single-player games, let's get to the next thing.
Well, Stephanie Liu of Silicon Air writes that Genshin Impact, CCP darling, made $151 million in 1 week following its 2.1 update, a threefold increase from the week before the update. I gotta ask, guys, will the waifu gacha train ever slow down?
I guess
Do
not.
you think we'll see more waifus in more Western games?
Yeah, I guess this was. See. This is the thing. I didn't even know this game was still going. I hadn't heard about it in so
Yeah.
long.
Yeah, it makes money hand over fist, man.
Yeah, I follow people on Twitter that play it for some stupid reason, and all they talk about is like, well, what character banners are coming up and how they're trying hard to get the right pools. I'm like, this sounds insane. Like, why would you play a slot machine to get these characters you want to play as? It's so stupid. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, if 151 million is notable, 50 million is apparently not notable for this game.
Jeez. Like, why would they ever listen to people like me that thinks this is scummy? Like, just make money hand over fist, and no one can stop you, I suppose. Like, you have your whales, they want to keep paying for their waifus, and they have boys now, so husbandos too.
I'm glad I no longer see the Genshin Impact is better than Breath of the Wild hot takes that came about when this game first came out. I don't miss those.
Well, yeah, luckily you don't have to pay extra to enjoy Breath of the Wild. You could just kind of play it. God, I don't know. Again, I'm glad to be an old person who doesn't understand the appeal of gacha.
Amen. In other CCP news, Yahoo's Coco Liu writes that the Chinese government now demands video game companies end their, quote, solitary focus on profit, as well as not glorify, quote, effeminate characters. How do you think the Western news outlets will spin this one after their obsequious justifications of the CCP's weekly video game limits?
Well, they won't mention it.
Yeah, a lot of...
Yeah.
I believe the kids say Kotaku's been awfully quiet since this one dropped. I think that's the phrase.
Yes, well, that's why I don't really appreciate Kotaku. They didn't make any noise about this, which needs noise. You're about to see a lot of companies show that they have no moral compass because they'll suddenly stop pushing diversity because you can't sell it in China, or that stuff will be cut out of the Chinese version like it always is. So,
Oh, good luck editing the next Final Fantasy game.
yeah, I suppose so. Half of this news is good, I suppose. The game's not being greedy. That's kind of nice. That's gonna hurt.
I mean,
that's gonna hurt Tencent.
We'll see how that pans out.
Yeah, I guess when you like we're making like millions less, we have to make the games greedy again. They're like, okay.
I mean, it's less of a nice thing when you consider the thing is they want kids off of the computers so they can do productive things like, grow up to be wage slaves in their economy.
That's true. So that probably wouldn't impact overseas
really,
Chinese products.
Really takes the shine off of it.
Yeah, you're right about that. But I mean, if there's a small hope that like maybe some lazier developers won't like make two systems to like screw us over, but give the Chinese audience.
I don't know. They've already been doing that kind of stuff for almost 20 years now.
I know. So I guess it isn't skinning off their back. So
right. Yeah. I mean, they have totally different pricing models for almost every game, based on the territory.
Ubisoft tried to shorten that process once by doing censorship on Western games, and that blew up. So.
Well, especially in the case of China, in order to market your game and sell your game, rather, in China, you have to partner with a state-approved Chinese company. And my understanding is it's the Chinese company that usually does the developmental heavy lifting to change the pricing model.
Oh, so nothing will change for us. That's cool.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. Maybe importing the Chinese version of the game will become the preferred method.
Well, you say that, but most Chinese games online games, I should say, actually require you to enter your like citizen identification number, basically your social security number.
Yeah, I think I remember that. I remember back in the day, people like having guides about how to fake your own, but I'm not about to do that.
Yeah.
My favorite Chinese counterfeit story is when I was in fifth grade. This kid swore up and down that he'd played a game called Pokemon Diamond. And for those who don't know how old I am, there was no Pokemon Diamond at the time. So, it was a weird thing that this kid was saying. And he just swore up and down. He's like, yeah, it has blood, swearing, all this other stuff. And I was like, even as a kid, I was like, nah, Nintendo doesn't do that. Like, they don't put blood and swearing in their games. And, Pokemon definitely isn't going to do that. And then one day he brought it, and lo and behold, it was there. It took me many, many years to put two and two together and be like, oh my gosh, that's right. His dad had spent some time in China and probably went to some backwater flea market and found this copy of Pokemon Diamond, which is, assuredly just some kind of weird ROM hack, and brought it home for his kid, and his kid loved it.
You ought to look into the Pokemon ROM hacks from foreign countries. They're very interesting. Vietnamese Crystal is. I've watched I've read Let's Plays on it. It's so fascinating how weird that game is. Oh, that's actually way cooler than the official Pokemon games as a result. But what do you know?
Still waiting for Pokemon Opulent Jade. That's the one I'm waiting for.
One of these days, bros, Kung Fu will ride again.
It'll drop one day.
Wesley Yen Poole of Eurogamer reports that the UK's advertising self-regulation body, the Advertising Standards Authority, has told Star Citizen developer Cloud Imperium Games to make it clear that for-sale concept ships are not actually in the game, even though you can buy them right now. The ASA warning comes in response to a complaint from a Redditor, apparently, following Cloud Imperium Games' July round of advertising emails, entreating people to buy more ships that do not exist. After all, why finish the game when you can continue to make money by not finishing the game?
Yeah, why would they ever finish? What's the point? You're bilking these people for years and years. I think that article says it's made like 350 million so far, some crazy amount of money. Why would they bother?
So, because obviously the only take here is that this sucks, can we instead personality type the kind of people who buy Star Citizen things?
Yeah, they're stupid. They deserve to lose their money.
Are they also has a drone collection guy? Are these the one and the same?
How could you have any leftover money after spending all of it on fake ships that you can't even use yet?
Or do they I don't know, do they do NFTs? Do they?
No, they're definitely in the NFTs.
Yeah. There's some crossover there for sure.
Okay. What about let's see. Did they ride an e-scooter around, you think?
One of those for rent e-scooters
absolutely.
In the middle of the sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
Normally I feel bad for customers of things like this, but man, not for Star Citizen. It's been doing this since 2013. If you're spending money on it, you deserve to lose it. I don't know what to tell you.
Star Citizen fans are basically Scientologists. So they're they're ripe for the picking. And when you see them, anytime a story like this comes out, you go to the comment section, and oh boy, you'll always find at least one or two people who is just in for a penny and a pound.
Well, I spent $60,000 on this game, and I don't have my ship that I spent $60,000 on yet. But boy, this thing's got potential, huh?
Chris Roberts is a visionary. This game's already out. It's playable. It's the most immersive, best game ever made. Squadron 54 is coming out. It's coming out, they said.
Oh, I believe it'll come out, but
it's
not in my lifetime.
No, it'll our children's children will get to enjoy Star Citizen. But
much like Yandere Simulator.
Yandere Simulator finished.
Really?
Yeah, it's done. The guy said so. So
the long national nightmare has come
over.
What the heck is Yandere Simulator? Is that like a Tsundere Simulator?
A long, storied saga.
Mm-hmm.
It's where you play like a murderous high school girlfriend sort of thing. But it was like a big scam for a long time. But he says he's done. So I'll see you in 2050 for the official Star Citizen launch party, I guess.
Yes, I'll be attending on my my VIP ship that I've pre-purchased.
Yes.
That you pre-purchased 50 years ago.
Yeah, I had to sell my 5 NFTs of Matt Stafford throwing touchdowns for it,
Uh,
but it's worth it.
I had to sell my child into slavery, but man, I got a pretty sweet starship.
Yeah, but on the bright side, I get like $100 free and 10-cent credit.
That's true.
Also from the Silicon Era this week, Andrew Kia writes that everyone's favorite video game auteur, Hideo Kojima, wants to make games that, quote, change in real time, having this to say. Even though there are people of different ages and trades playing the same game, they are playing it in the same way. Instead, I want the game to change based on where that person lives, and that person's unique perspective. What could this possibly mean, do you think?
Kojima is off of his meds.
Well, I like. Well, I mean, I like that he's trying to be inventive. I mean, the article mentions Boktai. I don't agree that it's a little known Game Boy game, but well, that's whatever. It's like you use the real world to affect the game world, and I think that's kind of what he's getting at. I have no idea how he would implement something like this, but I do know that people tried to mimic Kojima's like attention to detail in a lot of ways, and it has ballooned game costs. So I hope not everyone takes this to heart, but I'd be interested to see how he does it.
Yeah, I mean, just as you said, I appreciate the creativity. I'm just, completely stumped as to the mechanism here. I mean, how will the game detect this information about me? That would be my first concern.
Yeah,
right?
true. Like, is it just taking location data, or is it taking like what kind of games I play into account? I mean, he does have clever ideas like this. Like, in MGS1, Psycho Mantis reading your memory card was kind of crazy at the time. It may not seem like a big deal now, but at the time it was like mind-bending. Like, how the hell do you know that I'm playing Castlevania? How do you know that? I don't know. And it's weird to say, but the transfarring gimmick, that's basically like the precursor to cloud gaming, where you put your saves up in one place and get them from another place. So he has good ideas, but I can't even begin to picture it. If you're playing in America, like, are all the shops like burger themes? Like, I just don't know. It's weird.
Do you have to pay tip?
Yeah,
In
exactly.
the American version?
You have to tip. The prices are inflated. You got tipped. The gasoline's more expensive here. It's just weird.
Oh, I guarantee you gasoline's more expensive in Japan.
No,
Are
I
you
know.
kidding me?
I know.
I think this is probably up there with when Kojima thought it was a cool idea to make a game where it self-destructed when you died. It's like, I don't think this will get past the Kojima sitting on his floor, smoking his pipe, saying, "What if?"
Oh, there are some executives that were praying that would take off. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Well, now they would. Yeah, now they'd be all about it.
Maybe it'd be like I don't know. It would have to be like a procedurally generated sort of thing. Like, I can't even. The amount of manpower to make it different for each region is just too crazy for me.
Yeah, that wacky guy.
He's a
Always
wacky
being
guy,
ready.
and that's why I'm glad he's in the industry. He's weird. He has weird ideas.
And finally this week, a little bit of uncharacteristic speculation. The official PlayStation YouTube account uploaded a video teasing the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake. That's right, remake, not remaster. The game is being developed by Porthouse Aspire, apparently without the involvement of either EA or BioWare, for better or worse. As one of my favorite games ever, I'm not sure it really needs a full-on remake.
Doesn't.
Not right now, at least. What do you guys think?
Well, the one good thing about a Porthouse making it is that they're not going to try to reinvent the wheel. So it'll probably just be like a better looking KOTOR at the end of the day.
You don't think they'll go in and muck around with anything?
I don't think they'll try to make it like an action RPG, if that's what you're asking.
That is what I'm asking.
Yeah. Well, like, if you look at like Blue Point ports, which
Yeah.
I think is the closest you're going to.
You mean remakes?
Yes,
remasters?
remakes. Like, if you look at
Yeah,
them,
remakes. Yeah.
well, yes, like, Shadow of the Colossus and Demon Souls, they are just better looking in some ways, versions of the original game that run to modern standards, So, because this is the port factory doing this, I would expect something similar. So, I would expect this to play like KOTOR, but look like a modern game.
Well, this is why when I talked about this at E3 time, I said that I expected it to be kind of like a very underwhelming looking port because it's Aspire, because they just port all the other Star Wars games. So I didn't really think this would be such a massive undertaking, like it sounds like it is. I don't know. It's a CG trailer. Like, how much can you say from it? Did it even have a release date?
No, I don't think so. I think maybe it was 2022. I don't remember.
Yeah, those are bad.
No release date in the trailer.
All I saw was Darth Revan, and he looks, like
Right,
you would expect him to.
like Darth Revan.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like a high definition 3D model of Darth Revan.
Yeah.
I mean, Setzer, do you have any hopes for something like this?
No, you know me. I don't get excited for anything pre-order, pre-release.
Well,
whatever.
no, but you probably have the most experience of KOTOR.
No, like I said, I think the original game is fine. It recently got remastered, or kind of updated, in the technical sense.
Yeah.
You can play it on your Android or iPhone now. What more do you want? I mean, yeah, the gameplay is clunky, and it's got that slow, pseudo turn-based kind of stuff, but it's not that bad. And I honestly doubt that kind of gameplay can be translated. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe it will be something like the Final Fantasy VII remake, which I understand was really well received, but personally, I don't really see the point.
Well, yeah, I mean, I again, like with a Porthouse working on this, I really don't think they're going to try to change too much. Like they want to just put out something that people want to buy. So I think this will be like Demon's Souls, where it's just graphically updated, but it plays basically the same.
I don't know. I think that if they want to make something that is going to sell, modern day, 20 years after the original release, it'll probably play something more like, Fallen Order, more like an action game.
Yeah, I could see that, but it would be less appealing to me in that regard,
Yeah, I mean, that's my whole point, is like, why does this really need to be remade? And, on the one hand, yeah, I think that for modern audiences, they're going to appreciate more of an action combat experience as they play through that story. On the other hand, I'm perfectly content playing it as it was released. We'll see which way they go, but I don't think, if it were just going to be like a graphics update, I don't think they would be going through this effort to hype it up. I mean, this is like coming from the official PlayStation YouTube, and I guarantee you most Sony ponies would bounce off the original KOTOR in a heartbeat.
True, but they're extremely brand loyal, so they'll just like close their eyes and pretend they love it. But I mean, you're not wrong.
I don't think Sony would have put as much money into it as. I mean, they have exclusivity for it for at least a year. So I don't think they would invest in it if it was just that, D&D based game as it was. So yeah. I think there's definitely going to be more action to it, and so I'll be very much in the same boat as Setzer, where I'm like, if I want to play KOTOR, I will play it as it was originally made.
Well, that's how I felt about FF7 Remake, like my original thought was, why remake this? If I want to play RPG FF7, I'll play the PS1 one. So I was kind of happy the remake kind of went in a different route, gameplay-wise. But I just don't feel that way for this for some reason. I don't know. I know it's hypocritical, but that's just how I feel.
Well, because every game is going action these days.
Just like RPGs,
Except for Yakuza.
Yeah, it's going back.
So it's annoying. It's annoying when every game that used to be turn-based is coming back and feels the need to be, the next big action thing.
That's true. It is kind of sad that there'll probably be there'll never be another turn-based mainline Final Fantasy game. I would
hate to see this become a quote-unquote prestige game.
Well,
that would be kind of a bummer to me.
I don't think, when 2027 rolls around and this game actually releases, feel free to timestamp this and throw it in my face if I'm wrong. But I don't think, a smaller port studio, no offense to Aspire, but I don't think a smaller port studio is going to have the resources to put out a prestige game, quote unquote.
I don't think so either.
I think that this will be kind of like a FF7 remake, Fallen Order kind of game mechanically, and the graphics will not be prestige level, but they'll be, up to stuff, right?
It's hard to say. I think Knights of the Old Republic is considered probably a legendary game at this point, where everyone kind of acknowledges it as one of the best games ever made, even though I don't technically agree with that. So I don't know. The pressure's on them. So I guess we'll just see what they do eventually.
Yeah.
On the bright side, maybe if it's good, they can remake KOTOR 2 with all the updates, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to talk about that too. KOTOR 2 is in my top 5 favorite games of all time, and that game could use a remake more than its predecessor, which I realize is a strange thing to say, but the technical hurdles and cut content in KOTOR 2, to my mind, justify a remake more so than KOTOR 1. KOTOR 2 just has so much more going on, narratively, mechanically, and technologically, for better or worse, that I could kind of be a little more interested in a remake of that. As to the quality, as to whether or not it would recapture, what I like about that game, I'm very skeptical. I can see, some young Zoomer, fresh out of Fortnite, chicken dinner streak or whatever, with his, he's got his Ray skin in Fortnite, and he boots up KOTOR 2, and Kreia starts ranting about apathy, and his eyes just rolling back into his head. But we'll see. Like I said, speculation is uncharacteristic of me for this reason. I don't have a lot to say.
Well, I'm kind of with you with your point though. Like when I see remakes now, I prefer them to make remakes of unfinished or imperfect products, or like stuff that I don't know could be expanded on. So I'm with you. Like KOTOR 2 famously had a bunch of stuff cut from it. Like when Nintendo remade Wind Waker on Wii U, which actually isn't really much of a remake, it's a remaster, but whatever. My hope was like they're going to really, bring back some of those dungeons that were cut or something. And Nintendo obviously did not do that. But I'm always kind of curious what these things are now. It's like, are they going to go back to the well and implement some things? Like when they remade Battle for Bikini Bottom, there was cut content from that game that made it into the remake. As silly as that sounds, like there was like a Mecha Squidward fight that was not in the original that made it into the remake. Cut. So I'm always interested in those kind of things. The definitive Sonic 2 experience is on iPhone and Android right now. It is not available on consoles because they include a hidden palace zone, which was like the most famous cut level from Sonic 2. Like I don't know. Like I want to see those kind of things. And KOTOR 1 does not have those like obvious points, but number 2 does. So maybe in 2035 we can see that.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I will say, it should be noted, a lot of that cut content has been restored by modders. A lot of the technical problems with KOTOR 2 have been restored by modders. A lot of the Paragus problems have been skipped by modders. So there's that for you, right?
Right. Yes.
The ability to experience that content is at your fingertips. The Steam Workshop makes installing those mods dead simple.
Right, but I would still like to see like an official take on those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, what I was gonna say is, KOTOR 2 kind of strikes me as like, or has always struck me as like a game that was kind of crippled, and never got to grow into its full potential. So I think if you take the themes and the narrative and the dialogue and the characters, and you give them the resources they need to breathe, then maybe we can see something interesting grow out of that. Whereas KOTOR 1 was kind of like, cut, print, ship.
Yeah.
And it's a good enough game, right?
Yeah, it's memorable. You can say that much at least. Yeah, so I'm more looking forward to a remake of like The Bouncer than I am for something like this. So bring me those flawed remakes. Remake a bad game and make it good. They will never listen to me, so we'll never get the Spore remake, which is what I was hoping for out of like EA remake things whenever they announced
they did
Dead
remake
Space.
a bad game and make it good.
What's that?
Skyward Sword.
Well, that wasn't a remake. That's the base is still
Hey.
there.
They made it good.
They did make it good. I'll give you that. But yeah, I will keep praying for the remake of Spore that's like good Spore, but that'll never happen.
That'll never happen, not in a million years.
That'll do it for this week. You can reach us on Twitter at alltodaypod or on email alltodaypodcast@gmail.com. This is Derek.
I'm Setzer.
And Cheston.
We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Adios.
Yeah.